and recording. You see this command. There is an environment explicit codex on, and I'm gonna run ffmpeg. Except I'm not going to run ffmpeg. I'm going to run printf for safety, you know. And these arguments could have had spaces. They don't, but they could have had. And I can turn that off. And I can nest this with add argument. This is something you would believe you can't do. Let's add a space here, shall we? Output. See? Works. ffmpeg would have got the same arguments and it would have run. Can you do this without bash arrays? Yeah, this uses no bash arrays. In fact, it doesn't need any shell-specific functionality. It doesn't need shell functions. It doesn't need variable substitution. I can show you the code. This could have been executables, you know, which is the POSIX dream. Conditionally adding arguments to a program, you know, with ffmpeg flags. If explicit codex, then nested functions and the @ sign. If you know, the @ sign is the only array, if you will, in a shell script that's strictly POSIX compliant. So you can use this in Dash too. In Bash you have arrays, in ZSH you have arrays, in Fish you have arrays, in Dash I don't think you have any array except this one. And we can nest them to ourselves. This is basically callbacks, and I wanted to emphasize what Gradle wrapper has to say about this. The traditional practice of packing multiple parameters into a space-separated string, and they are referring to this, right? By the way, in case you don't know how, what the hell? Sorry. ZSH has its own ways, for some reason. Printf. This is how it works. A will expand into 2 arguments. The space will act as a separator. Or a new line would act as a separator as well. So it is a list, it is an array. Except none of its elements can contain spaces, or space characters. They circumvented this with the by progressively accumulating option into the one list they could find, which looks disgusting, by the way. This is actually really weird. If you think that you need this, think of object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming has this idea that you don't call a function to bring you data and give them to another function. You take this function, you give it there. As in, take your arguments and give them there. That's exactly what I did. Where is it? Here it is. Now this calls a bunch of things. Let's take a look at one of them with also flags. Expands into an array. If you know, the @ sign is special in POSIX. $@ takes all of your arguments and expands them. Not as one thing, despite the quote. It expands them as quoted things. The first one is the callable, the next one are the arguments, and I add a few more arguments. It's like appending arguments. Calling the thing with extra arguments. And of course you can nest them. If you think about it a little bit, it makes sense, you know. Give this with them to video blah blah blah. So it all substitutes there. And this is what will be called the whole line. But the first thing is the with also flags, therefore it will expand again, and more arguments will be added. Simple stuff. And of course, this doesn't just mean you can replace the idea of an array that's local, of having multiple arrays. You can replace also the idea of, I don't know how to put this, but in home and image. You see what this does? I can show you what it does. In home and image, echo. Perfect. Home and image, I haven't sourced the same file over there, that's why. Echo file, you can substitute any command in there, and it will get as its first argument what it should get as its first argument. Simple concept. You can avoid plenty of arrays. By the way, generally in POSIX, let me take a look at the, okay, God bless. In POSIX, you're supposed to pipe from standard in to standard out, so you can have programs running concurrently. They get standard in over there, and it runs through all of them. Standard out gives the results, and if some of them lags, then the pipeline will lag, and that's how it's supposed to work. So this isn't a solution for everything. This is when you really need what you wish was an array, let's say. This is probably the intended way of using what you wish was an array in POSIX. So that's what I wanted to show you, because I found that out. I'm sure people knew this before me, but if the Gradle wrapper, Gradle is a shell script that tries to be POSIX compliant, and they basically complain that they don't have bash arrays, and they do some really weird things, xargs, and these are strings with quotes in them. If you take a look at what this is, it has, I don't understand really, but they did it, and I don't know why the space, and I don't know why the tilde. Anyway, yeah. Gradle wrapper is a script for Gradle. Gradle is a tool used with Java. It's used by a lot of people, so you would expect it's well written. This looks only bad written. Like, why would you do this? Okay, it works. Well, I think that's it. I don't know how long this video is, so thanks. My first video, really.